Alright, it looks like we're live. I'll just check the sound. Sound works, fantastic. Well, hello everyone. Better late than never, I guess, to get this stream started, but this is really exciting. Welcome to Season 8 of Contest of Speed here for the EU2 tier. I am Bodhod, relatively new voice, I guess, for the EU side. I'm normally on the American side, so thank you for having me. I'll be hosting your stream alongside my friend The Wizard, which will be a lot of fun. Haven't done commentary before with you, my friend, so looking forward to that.
No, it should be fun.
Welcome.
Hopefully I'm not too rusty.
No, that's okay. Been a bit of a holiday. It'll be nice to get back into the swing of things. Looking forward to what this will throw up at us, this race. Home race for me. I'm actually half an hour away from the circuit. A couple of wanders down to see. Well, it's currently 6 in the morning for me, so can't really tell. It was raining yesterday for our America race, and it was raining in real life. So Limmy's done a very good job with the custom weather. But I mean, with Melbourne, you never really know what you're going to get in terms of weather. So we just deal with what we're given, pretty much. And for qualifying, we're given nice sunny skies, which is beautiful. So there you go. So that's exciting. But yeah, good to get this season underway. It's going to be a long one, full schedule.
Action already, as Amir's dropped it on turn 2.
Yeah, let's get some data up.
Going again. I think he's managed to survive without any damage. So other than his bruised ego, he should be able to go around to do a lap.
Yeah, it is a sort of, I think people underestimate Albert Park's difficulty sometimes. There are some really tricky curbs, some real places where you have to nail the line to get the pace. So it is quite a tricky little track to master. However, I really enjoy hot lapping it, personally.
I mean,
but it is a challenge.
It does have one of the highest difficulties on the game, according to the in-game there. Spud was having a moment halfway around the lap there on the back straight, but he looks like he's managed to gather it back up again as JSAC goes fastest. I think Melbourne, what I love about its usual position as the season opener, obviously here for COS and for real life, is that, a bit tank slapper from Spud there as he goes into the pit lane instead of crossing the line. It's the fact that it is quite tricky. It's a very technical circuit, and it punishes you because there's not much runoff at key points. You go straight into a wall usually. So it's always quite good as a curtain raiser because it can damage the cars from a technical point of view. It can damage the cars from drivers going off, and I think that's why we've seen a few safety cars in COS so far, is because it's a very unforgiving track.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the margin for error in some places particularly is really small. It's also quite a good sort of pace setting track, I guess. It is quite high speed, but because of how technical it is not a bad opener in that way as well. Even if it is a tad more difficult to overtake. Although in saying that, the recent modifications that have been made to the circuit, which are not yet on this game, but most of which have been built in real life, that theoretically should help overtaking here as well. But not just being Australian, but I do think this is a fantastic opening race. Anyway, so it's good that we get to come here.
Pretty much obliterated Clark Corner and changed it into a straight line.
Yeah, there's a couple of major sections. See if I can find someone starting a lap and go around the tour. Looks like Jay Prentice may have just started a lap in the bright orange McLaren through 1 and 2. I think that's become a little bit wider in real life. Down towards turn 3, second DRS zone, probably the best overtaking zone on the circuit, heavy braking zone into a hairpin. Then through this technical section through here, a lot of pretty slippy curbs to trip yourself up on. Including that outside one there, you see many an incident. Now this section through here is where they've really changed the track. I think they're expecting 70k an hour or 40 mile an hour sort of increased speeds, which is massive. They've wiped out this chicane here, That little runoff road there is sort of where the actual road is now. Now through one of the most exhilarating and difficult sections on the track, the 11 and 12 chicane. Really important to get the entry to this right because you really need to straight line the exit as much as you can. Both those curbs are slippy on the inside and outside. A bit of a wiggle there, a little bit scary, but he's kept in a straight line, which is a good thing. Another braking zone, probably the next best overtaking zone after a short DRS straight. Probably a bit of an understated corner, the third to last right-hander. Low speed left into the last right, which is also a bit tricky on that inside curb as well, so don't want to hit too much of that. And that's a lap of Albert Park. And Jay Prentice will jump up to P9 with 22.4 on the mediums. We should talk about strategy at some point as well, but seeing these guys laying down some bank at times, it's fairly close towards the front. However, I do expect a lot of those times to drop a tiny bit. NSX Journo currently leads the way with a 20.250, which isn't too shabby at all actually, so looking good to start with.
Amir managed to recover from his moment at turn 2 and he's currently sitting in second place as well. He's put a lot of life out of those soft tyres. He's done 3 laps on them, partly because he's spun round, so it'd be interesting to see if he now comes into the pit lane and sets a better lap on a fresher set.
Spud's dropped it at 12. Just jumped on board with that. That won't be the first time. It wasn't the first time, definitely won't be the last time we see incidents there.
See, I feel like maybe more incidents are happening on this game. One, because it's new to the drivers, but also two, the 2021 game mechanics and the physics really do reward you for using the curbs in a very sort of Red Bull style. But obviously if you get it wrong, it just spits you out. And there are a lot of what I'd like to call danger curves around this track. I mean, usually you get 1 or 2 spots on each track. I think there's at least 5 around here that can really give you some trouble. But at the same time, especially in qualifying and when you're pushing, you really want to make use of those curves.
Yeah, you really need to maximise the track width. It's quite tricky. I do agree with you about that. The handling sort of model, it's very, very different in many ways from last game. So you almost have to treat the cars and the tracks sort of with a bit more respect, I guess. I think it's a bit easier to throw your car off, so a bit of a fine line to find, particularly with these guys only really having the game for about a month or so.
This is a half decent lap from Matty Robbo as he comes across the line and jumps himself up into P7 just ahead of his brother. The Williams, the Robbo brothers in the Williams this season in EU2.
Yeah, what's the rivalry like between them? I'm not too familiar with most of this grid. I've heard a lot of the names, but not sure of the pace necessarily. Who are we expecting to take out the big points?
I'm personally expecting Journo, who's obviously currently on pole, to do well. JSAC can be very exciting to watch. Whether or not that translates into points, we'll have to wait and see. Rosa is the exact opposite. I mean, I'm sure he won't hate me for saying that he's one of the most boring drivers to watch because he's incredibly consistent and he doesn't tend to do anything wrong or anything wild or out of the ordinary, but he gets the job done. He very much reminds me of Jenson Button.
Yep.
In the way that he goes about his business. It's nothing exciting, but it gets the job done. Jamie in the McLaren can be a bit of a wild card. He's got great pace, but it sort of appears in flashes and then disappears just as quickly as it came. So you can never really tell what you're going to get from Jamie. He can be having a fantastic race, and 2 laps later he's somewhere at the back and you're not sure how that happened. Harbaugh, another really good consistent driver. One thing I've noticed with Harbaugh is you must have noticed this in American tier as well, is if he gets past the first lap or so, he's a real threat, but he can quite often find himself tangled up in incidents on the first lap.
Yeah, I think I do Harbaugh. His consistency is probably what sets him apart from a lot of other drivers on the aim side particularly. It's just kind of always in the top 3, top 5.
Matrix is my wild card, I think, for this race, though. He's prolifically fast, but can be prone to throwing it away if it's not all hooked up properly. But he's looking very tasty through the final sector as he comes up to the penultimate corner.
Yeah, really nice
I think
line.
it's one of the most difficult corners on the calendar, actually, that hairpin.
Yeah, it's really tricky to pick a braking zone.
So quickly,
yeah.
And your tyres are overheating, and he goes P2.
There you go.
But you come into that sector, your tyres are screaming because you've been flinging the car right 90 degrees really, really quickly. Jay Prentice has binned it at 5.
Oh, yep.
Stay on board with Matrix. You'll be able to come across the incident in a moment.
Yeah, we'll have a peek. Inside or outside? What's the bet? Outside. There you go. Easy to do. As Jono. There you go.
He extends his lead, sorry.
7/10. That's a big gap. That's a very big gap. Wonder who can step up and try and challenge that. But that's a fantastic lap there from Jono. Still quite close behind. Matrix did pip Amir by 2,000ths, which is, you're not going to get much closer than that. But it's starting to see the times flying now. Got a couple of guys still haven't set times yet, so they'll want to get a time on the board.
Amir is in the final sector. He's a 10.5 up on himself. This could put him P2. This is on a new fresh set of softs. Going through that tricky second to last corner. Getting the power down. The trick is getting the power down and being able to hold it flat through the final corner. Maximum speed down the straight. This is for P2.
Too close.
He does go P2.
Yeah, 20.2. It's a good lap there. So on the front row, which is quite important to be as far up the front as you can. Track position is big around here.
Currently on a quick lap. Spud's actually on a decent lap for himself.
Yeah, we might stay. Yeah, we'll stay with Spud. Coming through now, he's 11.5 seconds off on his best, which I think is enough of an improvement to potentially gaining a position on Jay Apprentice. Coming through the third sector now, trying to hook up these corners. Really important, as you said, to get the line right through here. Carry as much speed as you can. It's looking fairly tidy.
As you arrive so quickly at that second to last corner and your tyres are screaming is what makes it so difficult. You wouldn't think that such an innocuous little hairpin would be so difficult, but it really is. And it's so important to get the power down as quickly as possible as well, because otherwise you're lacking down the whole straight.
Yeah, definitely, because the last corner's not, like, it's a little lift, if anything, so that's really where the power comes in handy out of that hairpin there.
And the real fast times are going to be those drivers that in qualifying, you can't do it in the race, you have to lift like you say, but the real fast times are going to come from those drivers that can go through the final corner flat today.
I think we've got another Haas on the wall. That might be Vapor King at 12, so another victim. He's not going to improve from P15. Actually hasn't set a time yet, so not a great start to the season for Vapor King. But the points aren't won in qualifying, so we'll see what he can do in the race. It is tricky to go from the back.
Harbaugh's lighting up his own times. Expect Harbaugh to improve.
Yeah, it's looking really nice in the AvaTauri. Yep.
I love the sound of this Honda engine, not going to lie.
Do you reckon it's your favourite one?
Sound-wise, yes, definitely. I don't like the way the Mercedes sounds. It sounds very robotic, but I suppose that shows its efficiency. I just like the grumble in the Honda that you don't get in the other engines. Watching the British Grand Prix at Silverstone the other week, it was so nice just listening to the downshifts on the Honda every time it came past at a slow corner. It was like, I missed this.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The Fryer still sounds like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really going to change anytime soon.
It sounds like something, I can't remember, I described it last week to a group of COS people. If any of them are in the chat, try and post it in there. It sounds like something when it gets to top speed, and I can't remember what I described it as. Titch, if you could message me, can you remember what I said the Ferrari sounded like at top speed?
Set him a mission. See if anyone can recall the mysterious machine. Alright, well, we only got a minute left in this qualifying session. Shooting the timer is correct, which we can't guarantee. So the final laps are starting to come in now.
Sector times at the moment.
No, Roz is a tenth and a bit up in sector 1.
J-Sack's doing alright on himself. Yeah, Roz has just set a decent time, but nothing that's going to challenge the top 3.
Yeah, so Matrix maybe on a lap.
Rosa could jump Jamie. Got another yellow flag at turn 9 and 10. Is that just people getting out of the way, I think?
Yeah, I think it's just getting out of the way. A lot of slow cars at the moment. A lot of guys in that lap, so trying to get their last second times in, maximise the track condition. I'm not too sure how much sort of track wear-in there is on this game. Haven't really tested it, so can't say too much about that. But we're also coming down the final corner, and he will jump Jamie for P8, which isn't too bad. Although in saying that, P11's not a terrible place to start around here either.
It's true. Matty Robbo will want to do something about that. He'll want to be jumping up from 12 to 11th. That's his favourite spot.
Yep, about to start a lap, so we might try and catch that one. Not sure if any of the contenders are on laps at the moment. Matrix
is up on himself.
Oh yeah, this might be one to watch.
Oh, Matty Robbo's binned it out of turn 2. That's unfortunate for him. He won't do any better than 12.
That's not fantastic. Yeah, let's see what Matrix's second sector split time is. 2/10 again, so he hasn't found extra time in sector 2, but we'll see what he can do about sector 3. If he can hang on to this 2/10, it could be P2. I'm not sure if anyone's catching Jorna yet. No one seems to be absolutely lighting it up. But the battle for P2 could be very, very close, depending on how this last sector goes here. That looks quite tight. He keeps it in third gear.
Himself, but
yeah, we'll
validated.
Matrix comes across the line, and it will be a 20.1, so he does go to P2. So a good lap there for the Haas driver. Rosa goes up to P4, so a bit more time to be found
here is a
as
tenth
well.
up on himself. Well, he's half a tenth up on himself, so can he snatch P2 back? Rosa, as you say, up to 4th. Raggy's improving all the time as well. He looks like he could jump back ahead of Rosa, but no better.
Amir is a 10th
comes
up.
Across the line now. There we go.
There we go. So last time's coming in now. Amir is going to be very, very close to P2. He's going to need a very good first sector here to get by the Haas of Matrix. Goes out to first gear for that hairpin there, so very different ways of taking that, which is quite interesting. Matrix used third and Amir used first. See who can get the better time. Looks like Amir's going to lose out in the third sector in the end and not improve, so he'll be stuck in P3, which isn't too bad anyway, but he would have loved to nick a front row, I think. And yes, I think that's it. So Muzz is in the pits, and so is Matty Robbo. So it will be Jorno on pole by 4/10 in the end, 3.5 tenths or so, ahead of Matrix,
so
Amir, Rago. Yeah, I mean 7/10 would have been remarkable. But yeah, 4/10 is doable, I think, for threatening in the race. But P1's where you want to start.
Sorry, carry on.
No, that's right. No, that's all I want to say. P1's where you want to start around here. It's not the longest run to turn 1, so track position would be nice.
So the Aston Martins took all of the fastest sectors. Jorno fastest in sector 1 and 2, but interestingly Raggy was fastest in sector 3. And they start 1st and 4th. That's good for constructors' points as well. Other teams that have both done well, that's it really, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's a bit of a mixed bag there. Nice and close though, from 3rd through to 10th, only half a second.
Yeah, that's great. Hopefully that provides some really good racing during the race. It's good to see qualifying times really close, but it is Jorno taking the big chocolates Maybe the medium-sized chocolates will say. The big chocolates come in the race. So we'll see if anyone can challenge that Aston Martin for the win. It's going to be a tough ask considering that qualifying pace, but you never know. Harbaugh in 11th might be one to watch. Slap on some fresh rubber. If he can keep his nose clean.
The front two are both very, very quick guys though, so it'll be definite handbags out on the first lap to see who can get track position. Matrix lacking 4/10, so we'll definitely not want Giorno to have track position to be able to stretch that lead out slowly.
Yeah.
Raggy is always very aggressive on lap one. He's that aggressive style is very good at getting the tyres switched on, so he could be a handful in the first couple of laps. Mr. Dependable Rosa, I'm expecting to probably stay in fifth and then work his way forward from there. He's got really good race pace from what I've seen, Rosa, so watch out for him to improve from fifth. Harbaugh again, like you say, is always a threat, especially now he can start on the medium tyres.
Yeah, it's good having so many contenders and a few different strategies that could work. The medium hard probably is still the best strategy, however the soft hard I think is a bit more doable than it was or has been in the past.
Depending on safety cars for temperatures, wear-wise, you can quite easily do a soft medium here. But it's just whether or not you can keep those temperatures down, especially following in the final sector.
Yeah, let's have a look at what people have picked. So Harbaugh's gone for fresh softs in P11, so Wisey Boy will be the lead medium runner. 12, 13, 14 all looking for those yellow striped mediums. Jay Prentice in 15th picking softs as well. Vapor King will be the only one to start on 16th as there's a bit of
disqualified for squabbling.
I was going to say there's a bit of weirdness. I think I saw an Aston Martin dive bomb another Aston Martin. So
yeah,
that was
a bit
weird.
Forward quite a bit there, driving car 8. So now it looks like he's leading them away, and Raggy's left the session.
Okay, so that's not ideal. I'm not too sure what all that was about. But those front two are going to have some nice cool tyres then, going to turn 1. So I wonder if anything will happen there. Let's hope Raggy can get back in as well though, so he can start the race. But it's quite comical sometimes watching drivers do the formation lap. I find.
Will try and re-invite him in.
Alright. That sounds good. Yeah, I was saying Vapor King's the only one on hard, so we'll see whether he can get those to the softs. If he gets damage on lap 1 or so, then he's in big trouble, but it's good to see trying something different. And the Friday back also on mediums, so that'll be how the grid lines up.
He did start the formation lap, so hopefully he can regain control of his car.
Yeah, that should be okay. I think if you lag out in the menus, then you're a bit stuffed. But he might have just been in long enough. But it looks like everyone's kept it in a straight line on the formation lap, which is not necessarily a guarantee. Although I expect these guys to be good enough to do that. I've got a couple of predictions coming in for the race in the chat, which is fantastic. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into the stream. Really exciting to have some round 1 action. We've got a variety of predicted winners. We've got Giorno, Maddie, Amir and Connell all predicted winners. So we'll see if someone's right.
Don't forget the front two on the grid are going to be on ice cold tyres compared with Amir and Raggy.
Yeah, and you did mention that Raggy was pretty feisty off the line, so we'll see if he can do anything about that.
He's left again though, as Raggy is out of that session. I will invite him back in.
Are we getting lights? Sort of. I'm getting some very splattered lights. I think we do have 5 lights, and Raggy has...
Raggy's car jumps, but he's not in it.
And now he's reversing. This is a spectacle to see, but we are underway. We do have a lights out. Matrix will lead. Actually, Giorno loses the lead, and I'm not sure if my leaderboard is quite right. I think it is, but Matrix leads in turn 1. Oh, there's a big incident at the back. I think that was a Williams going around. Might be Matty Robert and Jay Prentice, but up the front, Amir's going around the inside. Giorno's going to have the inside for the next corner and take P2 back. Rosa and Thiago behind having an almighty duke as well. A couple of cars scattered down the back. I saw someone do a couple of loops out of turn 2, which isn't ideal, but looks like the front guys have kept it relatively clean. Matrix will be wrapped with that start. Giorno's just hung onto a front row as well. Rebel of Rosa hanging on to P4 there as well. Dan Robo P6, J-Sack P7. Harbaugh's jumped up a couple of positions on those fresh softs as well, so making the most of that grip, which is great to see. But it looks fairly tidy. Other than that,
Matt has a tiny amount of damage, 3% currently, on his wing, so he should be alright to carry on without boxing, but there'll be no love lost between Jay Prentice and Matty Robbo.
Oh, we've got another incident.
Flag in the final sector.
Oh yeah, that is
the other McLaren
Jamie.
round.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there was some contact there. I think someone might have dropped a couple of places with him. I'm not sure who it was, but both McLarens now 15 and 16. Not the way to start, as there is an AlphaTauri in the pit lane. Who's that? That's Muzzer. And someone's been to the last corner as well. That might be... Is that Ragge? No, it's Thiago.
It's a Mercedes.
He's dropped it out of the last corner. Now he drops back to 14th place. So a lot of drama in the end there. Spoke too soon. I think someone else has dropped it. Well, Wisey Boy's dropped it in turn 1. And it's got some significant damage.
Wisey Boy has lost his entire front wing.
Wow.
In the Alpine now.
Chaos and calamity, I guess. I spoke far too soon about it being a decent start. Ragge's back in. He'll probably be wondering why.
Get control of his car.
Yeah, where is he on the leaderboard? He's in 12th.
He's 12th.
Although I'm not sure.
Find out about the glitch of what happened to his timings.
I'm not sure if he would have gotten the drive-through or something.
Given him a penalty either.
Yeah.
I'm sure he can at least provide some entertainment as we go along. The big winners from the start: Spud up 6. Connell, who people in the chat were supporting, up 8 in the Ferrari. There's another yellow flag as there's a McLaren around again.
Oh, Jay Prentice.
Having the greatest of races so far. First he tangled with Matty Robbo, who will be very happy to have just driven past him as he finds him in the wall.
Oh, thankfully ghosting's on. That could have been a bit sketch there. But...
with his lack of wing. Because Prentice will be straight back, I imagine. Prentice also missing a wing, so we've got a fight in the last sector between an Alpine and a McLaren, both with no front wing. This is very much sort of like
thrilling stuff.
Stock junior Formula cars where they don't have wings.
Yeah.
Both of them very much nearly struggled to get into the pit lane as well. That was mildly entertaining.
Gotta love that.
To the actual action, we've got a yellow flag in sector 1 as well as an Aston Martin going slowly.
Oh, we have a VSC.
It's Raggy.
That'd be Raggy again, yeah. So he hasn't lost position, but as he lost
his
wing. Oh yes,
Raggy's lost his wing.
That's not how you want to take turn 5. So he's gonna have to pit off those softs. So a lot of guys struggling off the bat. I wonder if it's driving the cars with heavy fuel. I'm not sure if there's that much actual contact from what I've seen. A lot of guys seem just making their own mistakes. Could be wrong, but something else worth noting actually, Vapor King's up into 10th on the hards, so that might be something to watch as well.
Oh, hi Chris in the chat, the founder of COS is in the chat.
Hey.
How are you doing?
In Royal Company.
To see you in the chat.
That's fantastic. Ragge is straight lining 11 and 12 to get back to the pits, I guess. But I think it's time to take a breather, I guess, after what was quite a wild first couple laps in the end. So VSC out, hopefully everyone pays attention to their delta. I can't say I'm very good at that after yesterday's AM2 performance. It is quite a tricky thing to manage the delta.
Just overtook Raggy on the track.
Yeah, so you might get a penalty for that. He's got a cut penalty for the pit lane anyway, so that's a little bit weird.
I mean, it might not penalise him because Raggy was missing his front wing.
Oh, and someone else has binned it. Jono's binned it out of P2. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye there, the screen. I was running with Amir, and that is massive. Out of P2.
Turn 5 big crash. Is that going to change it into a safety car now? He is kind of tucked into the wall.
You would expect it to be, but you'd also not be surprised if it wasn't. You can see the Shuriken Aston Martin on the left hand side there, and that's massive.
From our pole sitter.
A favourite for the win. Now that leaves.
Robbo has climbed his way up, actually. He's avoided all the chaos.
Into P3.
Built his way up from 7th to 3rd.
Yeah, that's a great start there.
Another car
and that's
off.
Spud.
Is it Spud?
Spud on the Red Bull's off.
12.
Oh, this is just going to be a battle of survival, I think, at this point. I've barely caught any actual racing It's just a lot of bidding, and that will bring out a safety car finally. So
Full
the Australian,
to reset the race for us.
I mean, there's surely plenty of debris on the track. There are a couple of guys coming to the pits now. They're soft guys. Ross has picked up 5 seconds for speeding.
Dependable.
Yep.
I'm so sorry.
There you go. Is this the beginning of non-dependability, I guess? Who's put on what? JSAC's put on mediums. That's going to be a long way to take them. The others are put on hards. Spud's going to pit off those mediums, of course, having that front wing damage now. This has been a bit of a...
Who started on the hard tyres
He's now in P4.
In P4 and up into P3 in the Ferrari. A good week from Ferrari so far. Wins in EU4 and EU3 and second, I believe, in AM2 last night.
Yep, Vamu did take second place, so it's been a great start for Ferrari, I guess in multiple ways, but I mean, this has been a really weird race. I feel like this isn't quite doing the quality of this tier much justice at the moment. But I guess it's just drivers trying to get familiar with the game, find their feet.
But I would back Dan Robbo from this position. When he's sort of in the mid-pack with other cars, things can get a bit testy, but he's at the front now. He's just got Matrix ahead. He can focus on the one car. And one of Dan Robbo's best traits is he's very good at overtaking, so if he gets a sniff at it, he'll give it a go. He's very good at protecting his own car and making the other car go off when he has an accident, when there's an overtake rather. So he's very good at car positioning. But I would back him from it because he's got decent pace. It's just when he escapes out that mid-pack, he can be blindingly fast.
Yeah, that track position, having the clear air or relative clear air with just one car ahead will be important, particularly when you're on those slightly older tyres. He will have to make a stop. Top four will all have to stop.
Maybe the chat knew something we didn't, because none of us brought up Connell, and yet here he is in P3.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. He's done very, very well in the mediums as well, so on the optimal strategy. He's definitely going to be one to watch as well. It's just a matter of whether they'll be able to make up that pit stop time if there isn't a safety car, which will be very difficult. So Amir does lead the guys who have pit. JSAC's on mediums, which is going to be tough. And then Rosser and Harbaugh are also on hards, just pitted now. So a bit of a mismatch kind of across the whole field with strategy. A couple of guys at the back putting on fresh mediums, which is going to be a stretch as well.
Will Rosser box again to get rid of his 5-second penalty for speeding?
It might be a bad shout, although track position is important.
I think the Red Bull at the back of Spud's retired a bit later. I think it was a Mercedes may have had. I think Tier had a 5-second penalty that he's recycled, and he's now on soft tyres, so he could be tasty from the back. He's got some pace, and he's got the tyres now. I imagine the safety car will stay out another lap.
Yeah, I found it does wait. It's full due.
Spread. No, it doesn't. Oh my.
That's surprising. I would have expected it to go one more lap, but it's not. So there you go. And Wisey Boy not going to catch the pack, I don't think, which is going to be big for them.
And Wisey Boy might if the leader, if Matrix goes for a slow restart. Now, there's a number of ways you can restart here in Melbourne. So because you can dictate when you're going, the leader. If you go quite early, round before the last corner, as long as you get your acceleration point right, that's a good place to go. You get opponent guessing, or you can do a late Bottas style restart where you keep it slow. But Matrix has already gone. He's gone with the early option.
Yep.
Dan Robbo's followed him. Connell a bit sleepy.
Yeah, it's a couple of big gaps behind. Probably not really ready for that, although a few hard tyres, cold hard tyres may make drivers nervous to put the power down, very understandably, but...
Lots of different compounds now, isn't there? A bit of a wobble from Dan Robbo out of 2. There's Vapours round in the second Haas, and what was a good race for Haas has gone downhill a little bit there.
Yeah. At least he'll be able to pit onto softer tyres eventually, but that's track position gone, which is not good. I think everyone else is still pointing in a straight line, which is good. Wiseboy did just miss the pack in the end, about 9 seconds off the back of it. But Matrix hangs on to the lead ahead of Dan Robbo in P2 and Connell in P3. Amir in P4 We'll see if he can stick around, as we've got someone else off, and that is another
round
McLaren.
Again.
How many times have we seen McLarens do some donuts? He's going
They're just trying to liven it up for the crowd, aren't they?
Yeah, must be trying to win the fans over. But yeah, McLaren really struggling at the start of this race, it seems. J-Sack's chasing down Amir for P4. That might be a battle to watch as well in medium tyres. He's going to have to make the most of them while they do have the optimal grip, because towards the end of the race, the hards will definitely be a lot better. So this might be a little battle to watch.
Choice, though, the front two on the soft, there will become a point as Matrix drops it slightly out of the second to last corner, which will give Dan Robert a little bit of a sniff, but not enough of one. If the DRS had been activated there, it might have been a different story. The front two on the soft tyres, there will become the point, though, where Connell on the same age mediums will get the advantage. I think it'll be around about lap 10, because we've had a few on the safety car.
Yeah.
So maybe in the next couple of laps, as Matty Robert gets another penalty, Dan and Matrix will become susceptible to Connell, but they'll be a little bit quicker than him still for the next couple of laps, I imagine.
Yeah, those soft tyres, yeah, they should restart pretty well. But yeah, their life won't kind of be too great. Anyway, I think normally without a safety car, you take them 9-10 laps at tops. Safety car will have helped them. Peninsula over the back here, this is the closest battle on track. Might have a sniff into 9. Thinks about it but doesn't commit to it. Probably smart there. Not many other...
Not the Alpines, the Alpha Tauris quietly going about the business in 7th and 8th, stalking Rosa with his 5-second penalty, which he can serve at another pit stop. He's probably banking on another safety car.
Yeah, he's probably going to need it.
Dan just fallen out of DRS range as he gets a bit of a wobble out of the final corner. Amir coming back at Connell, interestingly, so he's got some warm up now on his hard tyres.
Yeah, the meat and Ferrari sandwich at the moment is Amir, although he's sort of part of the sandwich being a Ferrari powered Alfa Romeo. I suppose you could say J-Sack's just behind. He's going to have the best view of this battle, but no positional changes yet. So the thing with Albert Park, as we have another McLaren off, I think that's Jake Prentice now. They're just alternating. I'm not sure whether this is a pre-arranged strategy from them, but as soon as one goes around, the other one does. Oh, and Vapor's gone around as well in front of him. So more calamity there.
And we got a VSC.
Turn 1, and that is a VSC, yeah. I was just going to say, the straights are almost not quite long enough, and the start and end of the straights are almost too fast to really make the most of a good run. So it is tricky. You're going to have to get a very good run to make an overtake.
His whole front wing as well, so he'll have to box. He's driving around with no wing. Now, I'm just curious. I think Prentice might be allowed to overtake Vapor under the virtual safety car because Vapor's broken. He definitely can now because Vapor's gone off the track. He will definitely be able to get through there. That is definitely allowed.
Thigu's going to sneak through as well, so yeah. I'm not sure if the game will allow you overtake if they're both on track, but yeah, as soon as you go off track, yeah,
Matrix
free game.
takes this opportunity to box, so
top
does Dan,
two,
as Connell assumes the lead under VSC with his medium tyres.
Yeah, not surprising. Now is
Amir
probably when the pit window is anyway.
Because he is the first person who can finish this race on the tyres that he's on now. As Connell gets it all wrong out of turn 2, and Amir is under DRS, but not close enough as they head into turn 3.
Oh, that was close. Didn't quite have enough straight to get it done, but that's really important for Amir. They've now got track position as well as the liberty of not having a pit again, as we've got a couple of guys speeding in the pit lane, which is not ideal for them. J-Sack's P3, Rosa.
He has come out the pit lane with Wisey Boy splitting him and Dan Robbo.
Yeah, so he's got a little bit of clear out, which is good. He can push for a bit, and those mediums will be a lot better towards the end of the race than some of the guys who have already put them on. Saying that, Wisey Boy's just dropped it.
It's Wisey Boy.
Yep. So.
And he's lost his entire front wing as well.
I mean, who hasn't dropped it at this point, other than Connor and Amir, pretty much. Connor and Amir. We got more yellows.
I'll tell you what, the Albert Park Marshals are going to be loving this.
Oh, and Rosa's round. Rosa's round at 12.
No.
And that's another virtual safety car. Mr. Dependable himself.
And he's lost his front wing as well.
Oh, what is this race?
Marshals are going to be loving this. They're going to have loads of souvenirs to take home.
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't mind being a marshal, honestly, at Elk Park today, if you're a collector. But yeah, it's just really hard to get any sort of flow and rhythm into this race when you've got yellows every half lap.
So Rosa will, on silver lining, Rosa will get rid of his 5-second penalty now.
Yeah, it's a small win in a big tub of L's, I guess.
Always look for positivity.
I don't mind that attitude
He's
there.
going onto the mediums. He can finish the race from here on those mediums. Tell you what, I'm admiring Rosa's helmet here. It's gorgeous.
I've got a nice view of the mechanic's bum at the moment. Show me. It's not letting me ride on board in the pit lane. We have to have a peek. We can see a bit there. I do like that. I do like the customization of the helmets. Would be nice to be more extensive, but it is nice as it is anyway.
I think it'll be good as the game goes on and we unlock more helmets.
Yeah. Alright, now, so top 3 are close. There's a bit of a gap back to Harbaugh and Mazza, who are chilling in 4 and 5 on hards. I think Matrix might be lining up and move shortly as well, and Jamie on fresh mediums. So that's probably the fight to watch for the next couple of laps. A lot of big gaps in the field, courtesy of a lot of mistakes that we've seen.
Jasak definitely looking the raciest at the moment. He's on the fresher mediums than his teammate Connell, who leads. Amir in the Ferrari sandwich in his Alfa Romeo, so Italy 1-2-3 at the moment. And again, the Alpha Tauri boys quietly getting on about their business in P4 and P5. They can both realistically finish the Grand Prix on the tyres that they are on. They don't have to box again.
Oh, Amir's going to be close here. Has a think about it, but pulls back in behind. You got a really good run out of turn 2 there. Did Amir, but not quite close enough to throw a nose in. As Connor's going a bit wide. That might open the door again. I think we have more yellows somewhere, and that might be another McLaren. Is it Jamie 1S's turn? I'm just trying to look at the... No, it's not. He's just been overtaken by Matrix. No, so Jamie's still pointing in a straight line. Matrix up to P7, so he might come back towards some of these guys towards the end of the race. He's not actually that far off the podium, given everything.
Front 3 separated by half a second.
Yeah,
as
this is fantastic.
Turn 11, go through 12. DRS now for Amir. Is he going to send one on the inside? Connor defends the inside, but he gets damaged, and there's a mild contact there. A little bit of dummying there. I think it was all right. There was nothing sinister there. No damage either to any of the drivers.
It's tricky getting around that corner because you can't really just hold a singular line because of the kink in the straight there, but a little bit of indecision from both the attacker and the defender in that situation there.
And
Matrix wins it.
Sorry, Amir is in the wall, sorry.
And that's damage.
He's lost the front left.
Oh.
Front left of his rear wing, front left of his wing is gone. And it is a Ferrari 1-2, and Connell is letting his faster teammate go through. That is team orders right there.
It's going to be an Alpha Tauri 3-4 as well, which is not bad for constructors for those two. Matty Roberts going to inherit 5th as well.
For Matty to do well after that first safety car. You're being vindicated here. He's up to P6, which will become P5 as Amir drops away. There's another yellow flag. It's a Haas on the start-finish. Vapor's retired in the pit lane, so that's nothing to worry about, that yellow flag. He's had enough for today. I can understand, to be fair. It's been very frustrating for him. Connell now the rear gunner of this Ferrari 1-2. They've seen how well Ferrari have done so far this week, and they want to go one better. Yeah,
he'll still have to pit. Keep in mind for Connell, Jasak theoretically can go to the end.
Jasak doesn't have to pit, but I think he will.
I think he'll come under pressure from the Alpha Tauris towards the end if he doesn't.
If there's no more safety cars or VSCs, I imagine both of these will pit. Oh, speaking of which,
safety car. Who's that for? I'm trying to find a stationary dot. Is it?
Jasak could pit for mediums. The problem for Connell is, if he wants to pit to the end now, he's going to have to pit for hards.
They're both in, so they're going to stack it, and that's going to put Harbaugh into the lead.
And the Alpha Tauris that don't have to pit again. Mazza's in. And Mazza's hit the back of Amir coming into the pit lane. Did he get a penalty for that?
He might have gotten away with
contact?
Hopefully it's not damaged for his sake. Front wing's not being changed. It's a lot of mediums.
With Connell, J-Sack could change to mediums, and like I said, Connell had to change to hards if he wanted to finish the race.
Yes, he'll be able to floor it to the end, but he won't have the natural pace.
And Matrix back up to 2 and 3, so they are on the medium tyres. Now, J-Sack will be the very attacking Ferrari on the restart. Connell will want to hold position to not let Muzza or Matty Robbo or Amir through.
Jamie will be right there as well.
Because then the race will come to Connell a little bit if there's no yellow flag racing before the end.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a matter of holding on to as many positions as you can now for Connell, as he should be able to, with the pace of the hards and the medium should level out towards the end of the race, but the first kind of 5-6 laps particularly is going to be tricky. Yeah, that's when it's going to really count. See if he can hang on to as much track position as he can, and as you say, try and rear gun a bit for his teammate. He'll still be going off a potential win, I think. He'll have fresh mediums, and the guys ahead have got some slightly older tyres. However, you fear if Matrix can clear Harbaugh quickly, he might be able to stretch the legs a bit.
For those of you interested, Cos Muzza is on for a codename Rainbow if he can win. He's had all 3 compounds of the soft tyre. Oh
hello, if the Ferraris just hit each other. They have, and they got 5-second penalties.
Have just hit each other. Oh, the drama.
Oh.
The drama at Maranello. No damage to their wings, but damage to their pride as one of the Ferraris comes in. Connell is getting rid of his 5 seconds,
and
he's probably going to cycle back onto the mediums.
Yeah.
He doesn't fancy driving around on. There's a bit of bad blood there at Ferrari.
Oh,
we're on for a very good split strat there on the track, and now all of a sudden one of them's at the back.
Yeah, I wonder if Bonotto is just informed them of the master plan. It's all part of the big plan.
At this point, I think.
Yeah. But that's going to put him back down to 12th, also known as second last for now, with Figure at the back, who should this time catch the pack, hopefully, for his sake.
Another chance for the McLarens to try and keep it on the island.
I mean, whose turn is it? I think
it's is trapped in a McLaren sandwich, and
yeah, well, it's
that's
Jamie's.
going to be a very dizzy sandwich.
I think it's Jamie's turn to go around because Jay Prince did the last one, so Ross is going to have to be careful of that. Although maybe with, I mean, it's sort of like a race reset for most of this field, I guess. Everyone's kind of in relatively fresh mediums, bar a few. So it's a chance.
J-Sack's got that 5-second penalty, which could be gotten rid of, in theory.
Yeah,
so we might have to watch out for that 5 seconds, because they just sort of bumped into each other there. It was a bit clumsy from the Ferraris, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But he might get away with having that 5 seconds removed if we have green flag racing to the end. Is the safety car coming in this lap?
I haven't seen it yet, but it might, because Thegu's just catching up now.
Leaving space. I'm just listening to this Honda engine at the front. Oh, it's so nice.
Looks like we are doing one more lap. Nope, it's a late call in.
It's a late call.
It's a very late call in. So they're going to have to check up a lot. Will he go early?
Will he go late?
I think he'd have to go late because he doesn't have the grip. He's going to just try and minimise the speed.
40 miles an hour.
I might jump on board with Dan Robbo as we've got more collisions.
There's a lot of collisions going on here.
Oh, yes. That's a lot of penalties just popping up there. Harbaugh is gone. Matrix has followed him really, really well, actually. But behind them, they are kind of close, but they've kind of shot themselves in the foot with a lot of 5 seconds. So that's not going to help there. Yep. Harbaugh does hang on to turn 1, so a good enough restart for him. As we've got a few guys moving, and we got Jay Prentice on the wall. Oh no, he's in the pit lane.
He's in the pit lane, yeah. Amir around the outside of Matty Robbo. Matty Robbo holds position. And there's a spin.
Oh, and it is the McLaren of Jamie.
It's the other McLaren.
Oh, we've called it. The only problem is...
We shouldn't laugh.
Yeah. I mean, it's Jay Prince's turn, he's out, so I guess they won't have anything else to worry about for now, but obviously a really frustrating race for the pair of them. Just can't quite get the flow of this race going. So I want to bounce back next week.
Restart, that definitely wasn't Harbaugh. I think it was people trying to double guess when he was going to go, because Harbaugh drove a very steady pace around that last sector.
I mean, the late call-in would have really not
As
helped. He
Harbaugh
would have had to
wobbles
go
out
slow.
of 12, and now Matrix has got a run on him.
Oh, he's going to look
Goes to the
outside.
outside.
Harbaugh, that's really good defensive
J-Sack is
positioning
all
there.
over them.
Yeah,
on the fresher
J-Sack.
mediums.
He's going to maybe have a peak here, not quite. Matrix should have the front end grip here of those medium tyres to get the car rotated
must have jumped
through.
down Robbo then.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a gap behind, so J-Sack might look for a move here, but Matrix is all over the back of Harbaugh here now. Harbaugh trying to get rid of that toe. He will hang on to turn 1, but turn 3 is going to be the big one, the braking zone, where those mediums should be able to go. And he's got a great run. Yeah, so Matrix gets the run. He's going to go around the outside again, so Harbaugh defending that inside line. He can run him off, but it's whether he'll be able to. And he does. Absolutely textbook defense there. Position the car really well. J-Sack sneaking behind. The two Williams boys, they're ready to pick up the pieces of anything that happens up here as well. Amir's not far off either. He's right behind the Williams boys as well.
Connell's clawed his way back up to 8th. Technically, Connell's ahead of his teammate because Connell's got rid of his 5-second penalty.
Yeah, well, with all those penalties, that's going to be massive.
J-Sack went for the outside, he ran out of room, and now Dan Roberts got to run around the outside.
Ooh.
He's going to fight this all the way to turn 11.
This is a picture
They're
and a half.
both deploying ERS, it's side by side. And J-Sack has to back out, surely, because he's run out of... That's a brilliant move from Dan Robbo.
And it's going to let his teammate through as well. Yeah, so J-Sack getting hung out to dry a little bit there. He looked like the one likely to make the overtake, as we got a lot of moves into turn 13 now. I think Amir sneaks by Muzzer as well. But really great wheel to wheel.
Outstanding bravery in driving there, wheel to wheel, and sensible decision from J-Sack to let it go there. Brilliant move from
And it's still going. Connell sneaks by Muzzer as well, and I think Rosa might have a little look here at the AlphaTauri as well, a bit of bump draft and perhaps down the straight, NASCAR style, I guess. But that was a great little piece of action there. Really good to see some wheel-to-wheel racing. We haven't seen much of that because of how stop-start this race has been, but I think J-Sack's not done yet. He's going to have a peek down the inside of 3, but not quite able to. Matty Robbo gets a bit of a squirrely back end, but he will hang on for now. Oh, it is Amir. Amir on the outside.
Opportunistic move from Amir through 5.
That is fantastic. That is a fantastic move there from the.
And now Connell's right behind his teammate. Remember, under the safety car, they bashed into each other clumsily. Connell came in to change tyres and get rid of his penalty, and now he's right behind his teammate again.
Oh, and here comes Thiago at the back on Rosa as well, and he's going to make up a position to P9. So this is where the action is at the moment. It has cost him a bit to the front two, who are jetting away a little bit, but this is fantastic racing. A lot of points up for grabs. The ones looking really good are...
have to swap their drivers.
Yeah, with that 5 seconds there, that's really important there. As Muzzer's going to have a look down the inside.
The way for J-Sack earlier.
Yeah, I mean Muzzer's all over the back here.
The
they might have to. J-Sack might have to rear gun a little bit for his team because Connell really is in the best position to maximise points without that penalty there.
Matrix goes to the outside.
Matrix is close.
And he swoops around the outside, but Harbaugh holds him off as they carry on to turn 3.
Yeah,
Matrix with the inside, Matrix outside.
Yeah, Matrix DRS, has he got the overspeed? He's got the performance on the brakes to get alongside, and there's contact.
Oh, touch!
And Harbaugh gets...
fair racing, it was just, that's how it is sometimes, but that was brilliant
to
watch.
The wheel-to-wheel is really tricky there. We've got a bit of movement out the back as well. J-Sack snuck through on Matty Robbo again, so Matty Robbo's lost a couple of positions. Amir's now up in the 4th, so he might be one to watch towards the end of this race. He's got the 5 laps fresh tyres compared to Robbo and Matrix ahead on 9. Yeah, so a lot of movement happening in this mid-points area.
Crucially for Connell, he needs to get past Matty Robbo so he can have a free pass with J-Sack.
Yeah.
Because whilst there's a car in between them, J-Sack doesn't need to listen to any team orders if there are any.
Yeah, so
but
important
J-Sack's more concerned with getting past Amir than going backwards. This is fantastic stuff. Harbaugh causing a train. Matrix has broken DRS, but I think Harbaugh will still have DRS going into this section because the trigger point is so far back.
Yeah, has he got it? No, he doesn't have it.
No, he doesn't get it. So now Dan Robbo's got it. Is Harbaugh going to take the inside? No, Dan Robbo's taken it. He's got nothing to defend from Dan Robbo, so Dan Robbo can now chase down Matrix. They've been racing all race, and they're on the same strat as well. 10 lap old mediums, no penalties each. They're racing to the end.
Oh, Jacek had to think about going around the back of Amir, but unfortunately now for Harbaugh, it's his job to hang on. He's going to struggle now. 15 lap old hards won't be quite optimal anymore. Amir's all over the back of him. There's a lot of hungry drivers as well looking for points. There's a podium on the line here for Harbaugh, so he's going to do a really good job. He's going to have to do a great job to hang on to that. But a lot of guys now in fresher, softer tyres are going to be putting him under a lot of pressure. Connell's still stuck behind Matty Robbo, although he's got a pretty decent run. I reckon Amir might have a peak.
He's got so much more ERS than the guys in front of him, but he picks
penalty.
up a 3-second penalty.
And so does Harbaugh.
And Harbaugh runs wide again. There's
yes.
a lot of snap oversteer from that Alpha Tauri in this last 10 laps.
Yeah, so both can get a penalty.
Harbaugh sticks to the inside.
Amir's going to go right around the outside using the grip of those mediums, and he gets that move done. So really good there from Amir into P3.
Connell's still behind Matty, so crucial for him. He's got to take advantage if he wants to go forward, and he's not getting anywhere close to the Williams. And now Harbaugh is at least getting some DRS this time. 2 seconds the gap between the leaders as Amir chases down Dan Robbo, but Dan Robbo is clean. The front two do not have penalties.
Yeah, but Stigu gets a penalty as well in this mid-pack, so not many people without penalties. Connell could be, you know what, he could still be on for a podium here. He gets by Matty Robbo around the outside. Oh, inside, it'll be the outside.
Robbo's not going out of it, and Matty Robbo spins! Alongside, oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, he'll be annoyed about that. Connell finally gets into P6, but
tried to keep it in,
not,
but it
yeah.
just wasn't to be, unfortunately. Rosa is in 8th, he's trying to make a recovery drive. Jamie, despite his 1 million spins, doesn't have any penalties either. Connell, Jamie, Dan Robbo, Matrix, the only penalty-free drivers at the moment. Now, J-Sack will see that his teammate is behind him, so he will double his efforts to get past Harbaugh to get another car between him and the other Ferrari.
Yeah, as I say, Connell could still be on for a podium if they play this right without those penalties. It's just a matter of how friendly they want to play with each other. J-Sack's been all over the back of Harbaugh for the last few corners now, so he might be trying to eye up a move now, but Harbaugh's been able to stick with Amir really well actually. He's only half a second off, so Harbaugh's managed to stay with the Alfa Romeo, which could be critical for his race, getting that DRS defensively. Amir's all over the back of Dan Robbo. J-Sack gets really loose, and that might let Connell through, although he's not quite close enough.
The inside line as Amir tries to go around the outside, and he's got the move done before they even get to the corner. There was so much overspeed there from the extra ERS he had in his pockets. Surely J-Sack has got to let his teammate through.
Yeah, he seems to be struggling a bit now.
They did so earlier, Connell let his teammate through, but they have since touched each other and given each other 5-second penalties, so maybe the love's gone now.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope it doesn't cost them a potential podium. Now Dan Robbo.
Mercedes now all over the back of Connell as well. He's made a great comeback to
Yeah, J-Sack on the back of Harbaugh again. I wonder if he can make a move. Yeah, these guys really pushing the limits now. 7 laps to go, or 7 laps in the sector, so not too long left to make your moves. So trying to get through the grid as much as they can. There's not too much time to maximise those points. Harbaugh a little bit deep into the second to last corner. It might open the door for J-Sack if he can get the run out of the final corner, which he does. Great, that's a fantastic exit there from the Ferrari. Harbaugh still does have DRS though. Does he have the overspeed to get the move? Not quite. Harbaugh breaks later and gets back ahead as J-Sack gets a little bit loose out of 2 again. That's 2 laps in a row now. And that is going to save Harbaugh into turn 3. So Harbaugh will hang on to P4 as we've got yellows again. And who's that? That's Wisey Boy, I think, in the background. Yeah, so that's going to put... Yeah, that'll put Matty Robbo back into the points
no
now.
Damage, though. No damage for the Alpine.
Oh, that's good for him at least.
Tyres.
Yes, hard tyres as well, which won't be fun. Good action up here though. Amir hasn't quite been able to dig into the lead yet. He does have that penalty though, so he'll need Matrix to make a fair few mistakes at this point to challenge for the win. but you never know. This race has gone, anything really can happen. J-Sac's got a fantastic run here, although he does get squirrely. Yeah, I was going to say he looked really good until then. He's still not quite get the move done. His teammate's still stuck behind him without any penalties.
J-Sac is living inside the Honda gearbox of that Alpha Tauri.
Yeah.
But Harbaugh appears to have gotten on top of his snap oversteer issues, which means that he's now getting good exits out of corners, because I think that's what was costing him track position, was the few moments of snap oversteer he seemed to be getting over the last few laps.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot more control. He's actually still sort of closing on Dan Robert a little bit. Dan Robert seems to be struggling a bit. 14 lap on mediums, they're not going to be fantastic for too much longer, so maybe this is where we see the hards overtake the mediums a little bit, as there's a Mercedes round, yeah. So that's going to cost...
I don't know if he made contact with the McLaren.
Yeah, that'll cost him position at least. I'm not sure if there's damage there. Doesn't look like it initially.
Oh, Maddie runs wide at 5.
We got a side-by-side through turn 9 and 10 chicane. Harbaugh and J-Sac going through, I think Harbaugh just hangs on there, but J-Sac I thought almost had that move done, and Connell's right behind him now, so...
So Mazza boxed, but they didn't replace his wing, which is really annoying. That's why he's been going round at the back really slowly.
J-Sac down the inside. Can't get it done. That's weird from Mazza. I think a couple of guys in the chat I saw were mentioning that happened to them as well. Spud and Vapor perhaps. I'm having issues with the pit lane and the crew not fixing stuff. Wonder if that's a known glitch. That is really weird. But Harbaugh's all
and this time
over the exit now, yeah.
Well, and he's got the inside and he's got the high ground.
Harbaugh's going to hang it.
Harbaugh sticks in with it. This is amazing.
That's great defense there. And finally...
And the other Ferrari, Connell's here.
And he might look for another double overtake.
The opportunistic little Irishman that he is. Harbaugh gets touched. And it's Connell who takes the position as he chases down P3. He's got to get within 3 seconds of Amir. But Connell's had a lot of latent pace here, hidden up, bunched up behind his teammate and Harbaugh. Can he be released now? He's got a lot more ERS than the guys around him.
Now it's time to show what he's got. He's got a 1.5 now dance. That little exchange cost him a little bit of time. Harbaugh's also now exposed to the other Ferrari here. He's going to just get DRS, but for how many more laps? So J-Sac might be lining up a move here as well at some point soon. Not sure if he's quite close enough now, but that's really important there for Connell, finally getting the clear air. He would have been praying for that for a long time before that move, but now taking his chance when it came. Really good there from the Ferrari man, and a podium still not quite out of the question there with the Mears penalty.
We'll still have DRS this lap.
Yep, that's important there. He's got a bit of a gap now behind to Jamie, so Harbaugh could still hang on to a top 6 here. It's going to be closer with those penalties, but doing well enough for now. I've actually been quite impressed with Harbaugh on the hard tyres. He's managed to keep a lot more positions than I thought he would, so really showing his class on the defence there. See some fantastic car placement there, making life as hard as he can for the people around him. The race isn't done yet as Connell gets a penalty now, so that kind of probably ends his podium chances, any chance that he did have. J-Sac's got a run on Harbaugh here though.
Out Harbaugh for nothing, says Chad in the chat.
Yeah, he might have to do it again though, as he's going to hang around the outside of J-Sac.
Connell's binned it! Connell's binned it!
That's big. That's going to drop him behind the McLaren as well, potentially.
He's not got any damage. He holds position ahead of Jamie. He's not got any damage, but now all of a sudden, J-Sac's the lead Ferrari.
Yeah, and he's gone around Harbaugh.
The outside and he's got the job done.
So it's as it was before. Connell stuck behind the pair of them. But this time J-Sac is now ahead of Harbaugh. What this is all...
pace and he was pushing to catch up to Dan. And he dropped it on the exit of 10.
He'll be driving with a bit of frustration now.
Him floundering in the grass as Harbaugh and J-Sac came back past him.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Something to keep in mind as well with the penalties. J-Sac still could get a podium if he gets that 5 seconds removed. potentially,
And Connor's
although that
got a
gap to Dan
penalty
Roberts
as
is
well
gone. Yeah, Connell picked it up.
Wide, I believe.
He picked that up last lap.
Get that taken back off.
Oh, that's a dive bomb and a half on Harbaugh. That's probably frustration there, but he's got it stuck. Feisty, I like that.
It was frustration, and it was opportunistic, but I think he did it well within the boundaries of the rules.
Yeah, now Jamie might be the next one to pounce.
I was expecting contact, but
yeah, it's a little
because Harbaugh's such a great driver, he's brilliant at his spatial awareness, is Harbaugh. So I think if you want to do a move like that, Harbaugh's your man that you can trust isn't going to have you off with him.
Yeah, Jamie's on track for... He could be on track for P4 even, without having penalties. Maybe Robert picks up a penalty from P9. He's now got 17 seconds somehow, so not fun for the Williams driver. It's going to... Or actually, he should be able to hang on to Matty Robbo because the gap's behind, hang on to P9. But probably not happy to get into racking up penalties. But 2 laps to go. We haven't really talked... haven't talked too much about the guys at the front or the back.
Oh, and J-Sax Bendy's Schumachered out of the final corner. Michael Schumacher once did that at 2006 race. And he's lost his front wing, and that's it for that Ferrari.
Yeah, Jamie's got the run on Harbaugh here. So now Jamie's going to pick up another position, potentially. No, Harbaugh once again showing his class, and Jamie locks the rears. Locks the rears on the brakes, so not having fun there on the brakes, and Harbaugh will hang on to P5, but Connell now back in P4. What all this has done is helped Dan Robbo an awful lot, not coming under pressure from anyone.
Great podium from Dan Robbo. He's done
yeah,
very well.
Definitely
He's kept
a shout.
himself out of trouble. He did that brilliant move earlier on in the race.
Yeah, definitely a shout for driver of the day.
Got him into that position.
Yeah, he's done very, very, very well. Another guy who's done well is Matrix, although in saying that, Amir has closed that gap, but with that penalty, that's not going to change the odds.
I would have
the end result, I don't think.
my driver of the day because he's climbed up the grid, but there was that mistake where he hit his teammate from behind, and also where he dropped it at the exit of 10 a couple of laps ago. So I think Dan Robbo's driven a very clean race.
Harbaugh has let his lap teammate of Muzzy go, I think. Unless he had a moment out of 12, which is possible because Jamie 1S is now over a second ahead of him. So Harbaugh's lost another place there. But
he's within a second of the race leader, but he's obviously got a penalty. And Matrix doesn't. Matrix, who we've ignored for the last 10 laps, has driven serenely off into the distance, but Amir is catching up in the later stages. But he does have a 3-second penalty, whereas the leader does not.
Yeah.
Same situation for P3 on track as well.
Yeah, so keeping it clean looks like it's going to pay dividends for both Matrix and Dan Robbo as it stands. But it's been a really good race for Matrix. A couple of ups and downs, not really an ideal pit stop, but he's managed to work himself back towards the front courtesy of keeping it clean and tidy. And as it stands, he will win the opening race of Season 8 EU2, which would be a massive achievement, really good way to start off his championship. I mean, he's had a good race, even though he's not quite going to get a chance at fighting for the win, barring anything major. It's been a very solid P2 for him after a great start. Oh, someone binned it. Jamie's binned it. Jamie's binned it on the last lap. Yeah.
Spin for McLaren.
Oh, and again.
He's got hot tyres.
And that...
Back
I think
to the leaders, though.
That sums up McLaren's day, but it is Matrix, unstoppable.
And Matrix wins the Grand Prix.
Fantastic drive there from the Haas man, Amir P2, and Dan Robbo with a fantastic podium for Dan Robbo there. Connell, again, another shout for driver of the day, potentially P4. Harbaugh will hang on to P5 somehow after struggling to defend as long as he did. He's done well.
I think the 2 mistakes from Connell are what takes it away from me.
Yeah, it would be a close call, definitely between the pair of them. Rosa picks up P6 after all that, after an earlier mistake, making amends. Somehow Matty Robbo will hang on to decent points, though Jamie still gets him after penalties. Matty Robbo takes P8. Thiago has had a very up and down race, will hang on to P9, and Wisey Boy is going to get the final point as it stands. He's had a quite, I think, difficult race. Speaking of difficult race, J-Sax had all the highs and all the lows, I think, that you could possibly ask for. He's going to just miss out on points after potentially looking at a podium at an earlier point in the race. And Mazza's not had one to remember in P12, and that is all she wrote for round 1. That was a action-packed, interesting, non-smooth, I guess, race. A lot of calamity, a lot of incident, a lot of unforced error, but it is Matrix who will take the big chocolates, I can say that now. And open his account with a big dub. Big dubs, I like that. So he'll take the biggest trophy of the lot. Definitely well-deserved victory. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Looking great in those red, white and blue overalls.
A Ferrari and a Williams on the podium.
Yeah, so the three backmarker teams in real life, taking up 3 top spots. You love to see it. But that'll be that. Not many penalty-free drivers. A lot of those after smacking into each other on the safety car restart, but we got through it. Connell 17th to 4th. Fantastic drive there on the 2-stop as well. Harbaugh 5th. Rosa, Jamie, Maddie, Thigu and Wazy Boy will take the points. J-Sack Muzza just missed out. Jay Prentice had a race to forget. A lot of mistakes there. Vapor King looked good at the start. Remember, he was up really high on hards at the start, but couldn't quite hold it together. Spud had pit lane issues. Jorno binned it out of P2, so he's going to be firing on all cylinders next week to make up for that, and Raggy as well, with connection issues and then some weird stuff happening to him, I guess. But that's been round 1. Fun race to watch.
Just getting the lads into the podium.
Yeah, let's get the winning car up on the screen. A totally not Russian car. There we go. Alrighty, we'll give these guys a minute to jump in the party and quiz them on their Australian knowledge.
I've been able to get hold of Amir. Don't know if you could invite him. I've not been able to get hold of our P2 man in the Alfa Romeo, but we've got the winner and driver of the day in the chat ready. Make sure your audio is set to share, gentlemen.
Yes, we want to hear beautiful voices.
There we go. In the hope that Amir does decide he wants to join us, we could start with P3 and driver of the day, Dan Robbo.
Oh.
We were going to give it to Connell, but he had a couple of errors in that race. He binned it near the end on the grass, and he also ran into the back of his teammate under the safety car. So we thought you were a bit more of a consistent shout there for a good drive, even though Connell made up about 13 spots. How was that race for you?
Stressy. Every time you get a bit of rhythm and then another safety car will come out and then you get some rhythm again and then another safety car will come out. And then I was under the cosh a bit obviously at the end. The tyres were screwed, I had like 60% on them. Unfortunately everyone who come up behind me spun out, so
yeah, everyone tried to get to you.
Hold up the P30.
Brilliant. Did you enjoy the sort of last 10 laps actually being able to try and get into a bit of a rhythm there as the people behind you kept falling on each other? So you were just enjoying the fact that people kept falling over each other behind you?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well done anyway. Anything to add there?
No.
Well done, mate. Really, really well deserved. Definitely a worthy vote for driver of the day. Really solid race. Good to open up your account in season 8 with a podium, so congratulations.
P2 hasn't joined us, so we will move on to Contest of Speed's resident flying Finn. Matrix, congratulations.
Thank you.
How was that for you? Obviously, in the early part of the race, you got ahead and led, and then obviously when you boxed under the safety car, or it might have been a virtual safety car, I think you and Dan boxed in. You then had to climb your way back through the field again. How was that the most fun part of the race for you, or was it when you got back to the front again?
It was a nice race. Of course, safety cars was too many of them, but no, nothing special or what the issue was. So nice to win for a very long time. So great day.
That's good. You must enjoy the fact that people who we would assume would be championship rivals to you in Giorno and Raggy in the Aston Martins had a bit of a problem there, so you must have enjoyed that fact.
Well, I'm not yet thinking about it. More practicing my racing and trying to have good races now. So, but let's see end of season what's going on.
A very Finnish answer to that. I love it.
Yeah, it's a long season, but really good to start out with a win. So congratulations, mate. Really solid drive. I'm taking the 25 points. So very proud of that effort. So yeah, well done. So are we expecting anyone else in, or?
No one else is coming.
All right. Well, we might close things up then. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We got there in the end. Hopefully next week you will have your regular commentators back in the box. I've really enjoyed jumping in for now, but you guys are probably sick of hearing Australians at this point. But it was a lot of fun, really enjoyable race to watch. Definitely one way to start the season off. Plenty of guys looking for a vengeance, I think, next week after some difficult races, but that's what made things interesting. The drivers who kept their noses out of trouble the most ends up with the big points. So that's something to learn, I guess, for today. But next week, I think we're at Baku, aren't we? So that's always a spicy race, isn't it? So make sure you tune in for that. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, same place, or I don't know about same place. Hopefully we're back on Twitch, but same time next week. Make sure you tune in for that, as well as our other 3 European tiers, EU4, EU3 on the 2 days prior, and EU1 tomorrow, plus the American tiers. Don't forget about the Americans tiers. I think AM1 is in a couple of hours time from now, so tune in for that if you are interested in that. So plenty of action happening in the Contest of Speed world, but we'll end it up for tonight. Thank you so much all for tuning in, from Boldhod and Wizard. Thank you for joining me in the box, mate. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that.
It was good fun.
Yeah. So farewell from Australia. Come over to my place of beers if you'd like. Half an hour east of Elliot Park. You know where I am. And we'll catch you later.
Traveling, maybe we'll all jump over.
Oh, definitely. You're all welcome. Absolutely. Before you all fly out back to Europe, come over for a beer or two. But yeah, that'll be that. Thank you so much all for tuning in, and have a lovely evening, and catch you later.